her blade at his throat for smudging her elite armor. The wind took his hood and she saw his face. The sun had not yet risen, and the air was crisp with the taste of frost. On the high cliffs overlooking the Vale of Arundel, a lone figure crouched, her elite armor glinting faintly in the dim dawn. Lyra Valen's blade rested lightly against her shoulder, but her eyes never wavered from the shadowed path below. She had trained her entire life for moments like this, to defend her honor and her code, and yet as she watched, her pulse betrayed the calm she forced herself to display. The wind howled through the cliffside, tugging at her cloak, teasing her hair across her face. She adjusted her stance, feeling the familiar hum of her armor responding to her subtle movements. Her mission was clear: protect the eastern border and eliminate any trespassers. Anyone who dared smudge the perfection of her armor, or the discipline she embodied, would meet her steel. Below the cliff, a figure emerged from the fog. At first, Lyra thought him a mere traveler, a man perhaps lost or foolish enough to wander into this forbidden zone. But as he approached, she noticed the precision in his steps, the calm certainty in the way he moved through the morning mist. His presence was deliberate, challenging. Without thinking, Lyra dropped from the rocks with the silence of a shadow, landing lightly behind him. Her blade, a slender silvered weapon forged for speed, pressed gently against the back of his neck. "Step away," she whispered, her voice carrying both authority and warning. The man froze. Slowly, he raised his hands, careful not to make a sudden motion that might trigger her lethal reflexes. "I don't mean trouble," he said, his voice low but steady. "I'm only seeking shelter." Lyra tilted her head, assessing him. The wind tugged at his hood, and as it lifted, it revealed his face. Her eyes widened, not in fear but in recognition. For a moment, the cold dawn seemed to still, as if the cliffs themselves held their breath. "You," she whispered, disbelief threading her tone. "I could say the same," he replied, a faint smirk playing across his lips, though his eyes betrayed seriousness. Her grip on the blade tightened. "You know what happens to those who defile the borders of the Vale," she said. Her armor, polished and flawless, reflected the first blush of sunlight as she adjusted her stance. "I cannot let you pass." He tilted his head as if studying a puzzle. "I didn't come to defile anything. I came to warn you." Lyra's brow furrowed. Warnings were rare in the Vale, and often meant danger too complex for a single blade to resolve. "Warn me," she echoed. "Of what?" He glanced around, as though the wind might carry his words to unseen ears. "The Eastern Legion is moving sooner than expected. They don't know the cliffs are guarded. They think you are alone." His voice had the quiet authority of someone who had seen war and survived it. Lyra's mind raced. Alone. Not entirely. She had her training, her armor, her instincts, but this man, she didn't trust him. And yet, the look in his eyes, honest and grave, demanded she consider him more than a trespasser. "Why should I believe you?" she asked, keeping her blade at his throat. Her instincts screamed caution, but part of her recognized the truth in his tone. He inhaled sharply. "Because if I lie, you'll know soon enough. They will come, and you will need every advantage you can muster." Lyra's eyes narrowed. She had always believed strength lay in isolation, in flawless execution. And yet, here was someone who might shift the balance of what she thought she knew. Slowly, she lowered her blade, though her senses remained taut. "Speak quickly," she said. "You have one chance." He nodded. "There is a path through the northern ridge. It's narrow, treacherous, but it leads to a vantage point overlooking the Legion. If we take it, you can strike before they even see us." But we must move now. The wind swept past again, pulling at her cloak, and she noticed a streak of sunlight glinting off his armor, a subtle hint that he too was trained. A warrior, not just a man who stumbled into the Vale. Lyra made her decision. "Follow me," she said, leading him up the jagged path along the cliffside. Their steps were silent, coordinated, each trusting the other in a delicate balance. For every misstep, a brief glance would confirm they were still aligned, still alive. The ridge, they paused. Below, the Legion advanced in tight formation, unaware of the deadly edge of the cliffs that could undo them in moments. Lyra and the man surveyed the landscape, calculating. She could see the flaws in their formation, the weak points she could exploit. He leaned close, his voice barely a whisper over the wind. "Ready when you are." Lyra drew her blade fully, the silver catching the rising sun. She took a deep breath, her elite armor humming softly as if acknowledging the forthcoming battle. In one swift motion she leaped down, blade striking true. The first wave faltered, confusion spreading like wildfire. Her companion moved as seamlessly beside her, cutting with precision, his presence amplifying her own skill. The clash was brief but brutal. Within minutes, the Legion was routed, their advance halted by two figures who seemed more myth than men. When the dust settled, Lyra stood atop the ridge, chest heaving, gaze fixed on the horizon. The man beside her removed his hood fully now, sunlight illuminating the sharp lines of his face. "You fight well," he said simply. Lyra lowered her blade, a small smile forming. "And you are no trespasser," she admitted. "Perhaps I misjudged you." He chuckled softly, a sound that carried warmth across the icy wind. "Perhaps," he said, "but a blade at your throat makes for a memorable introduction." Lyra shook her head, the tension easing. "Next time, try a proper greeting." He bowed slightly, mockingly solemn. "I shall endeavor to do better, Lady of the Vale." The wind carried their laughter across the cliffs, scattering the last remnants of fog. In that moment, Lyra realized that strength did not lie in flawless armor alone, but in trust, in shared skill, and in unexpected alliances. As they turned to descend, the sun fully rising behind them, the Vale seemed less like a place of solitude and more like a world waiting for those brave enough to claim it together. And for the first time in her life, Lyra Valen felt the thrill of not being alone. The dust of battle settled, leaving silence hanging over the cliffs. Lyra stood atop the northern ridge, her blade lowered but still warm from the clash. The Legion lay defeated below, their advance shattered by the precision of two warriors working as one. Her chest heaved, the adrenaline of combat slowly fading into the crisp morning air. Beside her, the man removed his hood entirely, sunlight revealing the sharp, familiar lines of his face. For a heartbeat, they simply regarded one another, no words needed. The tension that had sparked the blade at his throat had transformed into a bond forged in the heat of survival. "You fight well," he said quietly, admiration threading his voice. Lyra allowed a small, almost shy smile. "And you are no ordinary trespasser," she replied. "Perhaps I misjudged you." He chuckled, the sound carrying warmth across the icy wind. "A blade at your throat makes for a memorable first meeting," he said, bowing slightly in mock ceremony.